welcome to the Fall Turf Festival at Gulfstream Park West, along with our track announcer, Pete Aiello. We're going to go through the Thursday card today. Pete, we got a fast main track, firm turf course. Before we go in, we're going to just look at the track conditions and tell you about the Rainbow Six carryover. Fast main track, firm turf course. Carryover in the Rainbow Six is 2,500. Starts in race number 5 today. Races 5 through 10 this afternoon. And we're going to see what's tweeting around the country, I believe, today, and we'll see what's out there. The first tweet this afternoon is about California Chrome, and California Chrome coming back. And we see, you see California is back, looking pretty darn good. He's going to be running soon.
Well, trainer Art Sherman has always had the keys to California Chrome, so nice to see him to get to drive him, so to speak, and control his fate, and should be an excellent return, and we're looking forward to seeing it.
Looks good in that photo. Let's see the second tweet this afternoon. As it pops up, there you go. American Pharoah's work, Santa Anita. They said this work was absolutely incredible. 123. Actually watched it on YouTube yesterday. Looked like he was just cruising. He was weaving between horses. He was just running by everybody yesterday.
Well, certainly there's some skeptics out there who don't like the fact that he's still in California just weeks before the Breeders' Cup. They'd rather him be in Kentucky, but I don't want Bob Baffert has not had to fix it because it's not been broken, so there's no reason to change anything now.
No, and he so after that work, he looked good. And like I said, I watched it, and really a strong workout today. And let's look at our third tweet this afternoon, and it'll pop up in just a second. And Dramedy retired to stand at the Warhorse Place. The Grade 2 winner has been retired from racing. So one of the horses that has had a pretty nice career and now going to be at stud at where's it that stand at Warhorse Place.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, I couldn't read it there real quickly. So that's our tweets for this afternoon. As I mentioned, a fast main track, a firm turf course this afternoon. That's what's tweeting. Now let's get down to the real business here and look at the Thursday card. First race today, 7.5 furlongs on the turf. Maiden claim is fillies, 2-year-olds. Pete, we got 8 runners in here. How'd you see the opening race?
I thought it was a pretty tough race. There's one thing that's for sure. By the way, I've not got to talk about any of this race meet yet on camera, so I had a couple of theories going in. I thought that the main track and the turf course would both be not as kind of speed as it was across town at Gulfstream Park. I was half right. The turf course has not been kind of speed. You've been able to make ground. Now, you haven't been able to make a lot of it. It's been interesting. You've had to kind of have a trip 4 or 5 lengths off the lead and move up, turning into the top of the stretch. But this is a race that Joyous Affair, your top pick, is going to be on or near the lead. So the main track has been kinder to speed than I thought, but the turf course, I think, is more closer-friendly.
Yeah, I actually tweeted that out yesterday, that it looked like you had to be, the speed was collapsing, and it looked like horses that were, mid-path stalkers, closers were doing the best there. So with that said, I did pick the number 6 Joyous Affair, stretching out around 2 turns today on the turf after dueling for lead, finishing a distant second to a really much the best winner that day, going a 1-turn mile on the dirt. She can turn out to be a major part of the pace scenario, and I don't see any other speed in the race, Pete. That's why I went there, even though, sometimes, even if the horse is not favoring speed, you have to go with the horse that's the only speed, in my mind at least.
Yeah, no argument there. The 2-year-old maiden races are tough this time of year because so many of these horses have never seen turf and or they've never seen 2 turns. So there's a lot of unknowns here. Speaking of unknowns, I went with a first-time starter along the inside. Little Gianna, Carlo Vaccarezza barn, been doing very, very well. The debut for Little Scotty yesterday was a good one. Finished a useful 4th, and then they won a race, the first race of the afternoon with Umberto. So the barn is going well. Jeffrey Sanchez has been the go-to guy.
Yeah, and that one came from way off the pace yesterday. That was our first 9-furlong turf race in quite a while, Pete. I don't remember when the last time we ran one over across town or here.
Yeah, I liked it. From a race calling standpoint, I liked it. There's a lot more strategy that goes along with the longer races. And one of the things that's interesting about this turf course, as different than Gulfstream Park, is there's a turf chute. We don't have to deal with a turf chute across town. It's, you start in front of the grandstand, you make 2 turns, and you go home. Here you kind of have to exit the chute. The turns are a little bit tighter because it's a 7-furlong oval instead of the mile over at Gulfstream Park.
And the horses, if you watch some of the races, you tend to duck in when that hedge ends there a little bit. So you got to know how to ride this course to be there, because they tend to want to go make a left turn right
and that's a heartbreaking feeling if you're betting on a horse who has the lead and he ducks in at the gap there. That is a heartbreaking feeling because a lot of times it pretty much seals your fate.
Well, the morning line favorite and the horse you have in second here, I could not make a case for, and I'm interested to hear why you use this one in second. I can't kept going back. I looked at it today and said, I must have missed this horse. I just don't see it.
Well, I don't know that morning line favorite is probably accurate, and the bettors are certainly attuned to that. He's 10-1 right now, but Panetta's a horse that has some experience, has gone long on the grass, and there's not many in this race that have done that. Closed a pretty good amount of ground last time out to split the field. Seems to be improving, has a race over this turf course. Antonio Sano. For me, I just didn't see a whole lot of other depth in the race. This horse has some reasons to improve, and made my ticket accordingly.
Well, I put the one on Little Gianna for all the reasons that you mentioned, but you also used a horse that's 15-1 on the morning line.
Yeah, the 7-horse Gallon's Gold. This horse goes out for Tammy Levy, takes a drop in class, takes the blinkers off. That has not worked so far for Galen's Gold, and this horse has run long on the grass. I'm just trying to find some reason to use a horse that is maybe not trying as many unknowns as some of the other ones in here.
Well, let's go to race number 2 this afternoon. 6 furlong maiden claim is Fillies and Mastery, and up 20,000 down to 16,000. Couple of scratches in here of the number 4 and the number 5 horse in here. So we're dealing with a 5-horse field, and if you're betting the rolling super high fives throughout the afternoon, there will not be one in this race. Of course, with only 5 starters, and you went with the horse I have in second, and that's Adriana's Dream.
Yeah, we were talking about unknowns about the first race. The unknown here is actually twofold. It pertains to your top play and mine. Adriana's Dream has not been seen since April. Is she ready? That's the unknown. When you look at Siri Song, who's Ronnie's top play, and the second, my second play in the race, the question becomes, does she bounce? She'd been off for a long time, and she ran really well the last time. Adriana's Dream draws an inside gate with a rider that usually has a propensity to send to the top end. I think that she's a better candidate than the outside running Siri Song.
Yeah, Siri Song, you're always afraid of the bounce, but the barn and the jock teaming up together have been so incredible on there. I thought it was a logic choice, but I can understand maybe going at exacta box in there. We both closed it out with a 3 in here. Fly Me to Dubai, eligible to take another step forward, responding in that recent drop to a 3rd place finish, but 5-horse field in there. So you just want to get those top 2, and I think we have the top 2. You box them around, I think you'll be all right in the
Well, I think we can always go back and play Wednesday morning quarterback, as it were. But yesterday we had Umberto, as we talked about, paid $30 in the first race. Everybody and their brother probably thought Royal Knowledge was a single in the second race. I know I did, and the double still came back $100. So I think that's probably the right strategy in the early races today. Spread in the opener, pick one of the 2, or if you want to use them both, go ahead and just hope that the favorites get beaten the first.
Well, that's a great point, because the first race to me is wide open today. So that's a good point. We'll go back to the turf for race number 3 this afternoon. It's 7.5 furlongs. His claim is 3 and up, $16,000, and we have a full field of 8 runners in here. Pete, you went with the horse I have in third. All right, on top of your ticket, Nets Mess, who was pretty game in defeat.
Yeah, he's been running really well. He's 12-1 on the morning line. I don't think you're going to get 12-1 on him. He finished 3rd last time out, but again, I was looking at it. I'm trying to figure out who's going to be mid-flight and who can get first run on the closers and maybe hook the speed. For me, Mets seemed to fit that bill the best. Andy was a good price on the morning line. He's a tepid selection for me. There's some depth in this race, but I went with the price horse on top.
Yeah, and you see it's stepping up in competition, but I think it's sort of like a lateral move against this level of competition. I did go with the horse on the inside, number 1, Yari, dropping a notch on the claiming scale, turning back today to 7.5. He ended his turf campaign up at Monmouth with a victory and a 3rd place finish against $20,000 claimers. That was going a mile in the 16th and a mile respectively. Jane Sibeli, Rafael Hernandez in the saddle, and I just thought off that form, this horse looks like he has a tactical ability to be close up, or if he wants to come off and dropping down in the barn. A few starters thus far at the Gulfstream Park West meet, and all of them have run exceptionally well.
Well, we haven't been here at Gulfstream Park West, so we have to dust off the handicapping book right now. And I will take note that everybody knows by now that I don't like horses first start from New Jersey. But
not on the turf.
That's right. That's what I was just going to say. So do not diminish the chances of Yari. Yari will take a lot of money, and I thought this race was pretty wide open.
Yeah, and I threw the 7, who you have in third, in second, Main Man Mike. Another shortening up to this distance today. After stalking the action, finishing 3rd against this level of competition, that was going a mile in the 16th. That was a soft course that day. It was listed as good. Joe Catnese, Tyler Gaffleone in the saddle again.
Well, the other horse I used was the 5 March Reward. He got an absolutely picture-perfect trip last time out, but he could not could not get to the top horse, Palace Gate, who took him gate to wire for Vitale coming in from New Jersey. Jersey. I didn't like the fact that he tripped out so well last time and still couldn't seal the deal. But if he can trip out again, maybe he'll have a different result.
Well, let's go to race number 4 this afternoon. 6 furlong maiden claiming fillies, 2-year-olds. They're going to run for a $35,000 tag. Going to scratch the morning line favorite in here, and that's the number 1, A Little Priscilla. We're talking about Carlo Baccarese. He scratched this horse out of here today. I moved up to the number 2, Our Beauty's Beast. This is a daughter of General Quarters by Sky Mesa, debuting for Wesley Ward. 10 morning workouts showing, including a couple of swift drills here back in June and July. But that was when this horse was not in Wesley Ward's barn. There's been a couple of barn change there. Barn change not that you don't see it here. Was originally in Averell. You always use Kirk Zadie. So this horse now appearing for Wesley Ward today.
You just blew my mind. I would have never figured that out on my own. So thank you very much for that. The thing about Our Beauty's a Beast is that you already touched on the owner line at Averill Racing. Rich Averill likes to have horses that go on or near the lead. I mean, our free roll comes to mind. So if you look at this race and you can figure, the heck with the workouts, just figure on tactics, the 2's going to be quick. Well, that's good because the 3, 4, and 5 have no speed of any kind. The 6 has some token early speed, but why can't the 2 get the inside position and the lead early? If she does, why doesn't she have any reason to not keep going?
Well, why'd you pick the number 4, Sweet Point, who's up there at this huge odds?
No, I don't. If I did, I mistyped. I guess I mistyped.
Mistyped? Oh,
yeah, Our Beauty's a Beast. I thought Little Priscilla was the cinch of the day, by the way.
Yeah, right. No, so did I. So, I mean, we scratched.
Our Beauty's a Beast was my second choice. We both scratched into the number 2 on top. Prize Arch maybe has the horse that you could use to try to beat Our Beauty's a Beach. She races out of the Ron Spatz barn, takes a drop in class, goes from the turf to the dirt, and just based on that, she takes the blinkers off, which is intriguing. But as we don't need to go back to handicapping 101. The 5 furlong turf races, the pace is much more intense than any races on the main track. 5 furlongs, 6 furlongs, it doesn't matter. If you're sprinting on turf, you're going to go much faster earlier than if you were on the dirt course.
Yeah, we both used the 3 dudes rocking, lady dropping, sprinting on the dirt, broke from the rail, stalked mid-pack, finished 6th in that race against a field of 11, going a mile on the turf against maiden special weight competition. I moved this horse up onto my ticket after the scratch, A Little Priscilla. Going to make the turf to dirt move, but I'm not really enamored with that horse winning the race.
For me, I think it's Our Beauty's a Beast. You have to take it on faith that she's ready in single, or this race just becomes too expensive to use in your multi-leg wagers.
Well, let's go to race number 5 today, and this is where the Rainbow Six kicks in, and as we mentioned, $2,000 plus in that pool. This is a 5 furlongs on the turf. These are claimers, fillies, and mares. 3 and up, $10,000. Jockey change on the 6. Make the rider Luis Castillo. Want to go back and show you performance of a horse last time out, and that is Trio of Mischief.
This is what I like to call a beware backtrack. Take a look at Trio of Mischief from down toward the inside. She's perfectly placed right now, fans. Wove is the horse that's on the lead, and Wove's going to drift out just enough for Trio of Mischief to cut the corner and go on. The horse who won the race is the one that Wove floated out. Trio of Mischief just took the lead here. She's supposed to kick away. She has a very good stretch kick, but the horse who won the race, first start for Efren Loza, Little Daniela, is going to actually wear her down while not being accorded the best trip. For me, Trio of Mischief had every opportunity to win and couldn't seal the deal. Why did we show you that? Well, she's the 8-5 morning line favorite, and she looks much the best horse here. The question is, does she have a propensity to win races?
Well, I went with the number 7 horse here, Penny, and I must be honest, I've been chasing this horse. There's 2 wins. I didn't pick him. I've been going back and forth with this horse, dropping today back to the $10,000 level after that 2-race win streak ended when she stepped up the competition last time out. She got parked 5 wide on the turn, finished 5th. He was beaten 4 lengths. That was against $25,000 optional claimers. They're reeling this horse back in where I think she belongs. Josie Gomez will be in the saddle today. I just thought that was the logical choice. For the reasons that you mentioned, I wasn't really strong on number 5, Trio of Mischief. I'm going to try these open claimers today. I just thought that she's, you have to realize she's 2 for 2 in the money on the Gulfstream Park turf, but I'm going to try and beat it with this 7, Penny.
Yeah, I think Trio of Mischief hits the ticket. I don't know how good of a win wager she is as the betting favorite, but number 7, Penny, also my top selection, but I have one major reservation, and this is not an insult to anything associated with anything. There are horses that get along well with riders. If you look at Penny, they tried everything. Boulanger, Harry Hernandez, Goncalves, Zimmerman, Camacho. They tried it all. It didn't work. Then, believe it or not, Chuck Simon went to the bullpen and pulled out his exercise rider, Eder Martinez, who wasn't riding races in the afternoon. This was his trip back to get to ride races in the afternoon. He does very, very well on her. He won 2 races. He finished second twice, and then she was in against too tough a company last last time. He doesn't ride her here. That's my only concern.
Yeah, and Ed, nice win yesterday with him. He's been riding great form, and I noticed when he rode Penny, I said, who's this guy? When I actually went over and talked to Chuck, and he said, it's my exercise ride, and I said, that kid could ride, and he's proven that. I also used the number 1 horse in here, and that is Starship Journey. Was given some time off after the solid $12,500 condition claiming score, going 5 furlongs across town, is back on June 25th. Steve Dwoskin, Jonathan Gonzalez in the saddle. Jonathan Gonzalez knows how to handle these horses, especially in these 5 furlong turf races. Just thought he was a good pick somewhere on my ticket. I think he's 8-1 on the morning line.
Yeah, I think that you're going to have to look at this race and try to figure out who the horses class-wise. You have some horses like Starship Journey moving up off a victory against Lifetime Conditioning, and then you have horses like Penny, and Trio of Mischief who are dropping out of tougher races. Which way do you go?
And what about June Flower?
June Flower has some experience over this turf course. She ran well last time out. It wasn't an optimum trip, but she still did well to improve her run from across town at Gulfstream. So I think she's another one that merits consideration on the bottom end of your exotics. But again, if you're structuring your multi-leg tickets the way I just suggested, you'll have a single in race number 4, so you can spread here.
You can spread here if you're buying the Rainbow Six ticket, or if you want to start here with the Super High Five ticket. I mean, the pick 5, the final pick 5 of the afternoon. Super High Fives all day long when there's 7 horses or more in the races. Been a lot of fun. Boy, we had some great payoffs with that. But this 6th race starts the final pick 5 of the afternoon. 6 furlongs claimers, 3 and up, $10,000. Scratch the number 5 horse in here. Pachanga Party. I went with the 1 Pecorino, a popular sort, claimed in 4 consecutive races. I think finds the perfect spot to step up to the $10,000 level after pressing early last time out, drawing away to defeat $6,250 claimers at the distance. New trainer Milt Wolfson keeps the status quo. He's got Harry Hernandez in the saddle. I see this as a good spot for this horse, a pretty good runner, and Pecorino on the board. He's the 2-1 favorite. So
watch this, Ronnie. See what I'm doing here?
What's that?
This is me taking the gloves off because we have 6 of the 7 horses entered, and oh, by the way, one of them is scratched. So if you used all of our numbers here, we have all.
So tell me about your top horse, and that's Caminito.
Caminito also makes a barn switch. This is the key thing here. You have the 1 Pecorino who's making a barn switch off of victory. You have the 3 Caminito who's making a barn switch off of a second-place run behind Pecorino. For me, I think that Caminito actually rates the law better of the 2 options. I'm going to try to beat Pecorino here. I think that his race 2 back when he lost to the horse of Oscar Gonzalez's, let me flip the page and help myself, Helper Rye. When he lost to him, I was very much soured on the chances of Pecorino. Of course, he came back to blitz the field the next time. But I think that there's some other alternatives in here, including number 4, Bluegrass Derby, who's going to rally from off the speed. There's speed here, folks. Bold Summit and Big Grandpa by themselves will provide a big pace. That makes the good chances for off-the-speed runners like Bluegrass Derby and Smoking the Field.
Well, let's talk about Big Grandpa Beanie's on my ticket. And as you mentioned, we're probably going to have to take all in here. We got all 5 horses covered. This one now in the Alfred McIntosh barn. Gelding makes his first start since winning 3 of 4 races, including the last 2 going to the sidelines. Before he went to the sidelines on June 28th, Edgar Zayas, a plus there riding that horse in Bold Summit. As I mentioned, try multiple winners today. So stepping up after following that front-running trip into that 12-5 condition claiming score. Fernando Abreu has Tyler Gaffleone in there going for 2 in a row, playing a little bit of the jockey angle there, and a horse that, a horse that I could think of beyond the ticket behind Pecorino.
Well, I'll have to make like Peyton Manning and pass on both of those 2 options. I just think that the 6 and 7 will have a crash course for disaster because they both do their best running near the lead.
Well, let's go to race number 7 this afternoon. 7.5 furlongs on the turf, claims 3-year-olds and up. Non-winners of 3 races in life were 3-year-olds, $16,000. Scratch the 11 and the number 12 here. Full field in this race of 10 runners. Want to go back and show you the performance of East Rock, the number 1 horse today.
Yeah, well, Ronnie's picking a horse that has a Tour de Force victory last time out. I'm going with the other one. Look at East Rock. This race is over by now. He's off the top of the turn, and he's just going to continue to widen on a field of non-twos. Why am I showing you this? Well, this is his first start around 2 turns against winners. Not only was it his first start against winners, he took it from 1 turn to 2 turns. You think he did all right? I do. He won by 8 lengths. He hasn't really had an anxious moment since he broke his maiden, and he did that in good style. I think this is a horse that's really, really improving. Jonathan Gonzalez is obviously getting along quite well with him. He's won both of his races on him, has an inside gate, so I think he'll track the speed, and I think for me, he's a solid single here.
Well, I did a little stat yesterday, and I don't know how much you can translate that to East Rock, but the one post today on the turf course here, it's only produced one winner as of yesterday in 16 races on the turf. I don't know if that's viable here. I just one of the stats I was looking at made me go to the outside horse here because of the tracking trip, and that's already stepping up to the next level. It turned it back to 7.5 furlongs. He set the pace. He drew away. I don't think he has to be on the lead today. That was against $16,000 two lifetime claimers going a mile in the 16th on the Gulfstream turf. Mike Trombetta, Eddie Castro. It's a speedy son of More Than Ready, but I think when you're on the outside, do you have to send this horse?
That's a tricky call. He didn't give anybody a chance the
Right.
last time. I didn't like him at all the last time,
Right.
and he never, ever had an anxious moment. So if you think he can trail, then all of a sudden I think your pick is a little bit better.
What about trail? I mean, track.
Yeah. Semantics.
Oh.
Semantics. Anyway, War Ready did well from off the speed at 2 and 3 starts ago. So if he can work out that kind of trip, then I think he does merit a big chance in here. But for me, it's East Rock or bust.
Yeah. What about the other horses used in there, like Street Rage and?
Well, Street Rage is a horse that figures to trail well. Again, we're trying to figure out who's going to get the best trip.
Right.
And when I say trail, I mean trail the speed and get first run on the closers. Vincent Chase has won 2 in a row. Street Rage did not have a good trip last time out. I draw a line through his last race. Vincent Chase has been a completely different horse since they took him off the speed. So there's some opportunity to get some underneath exotics, but why would I try to beat a horse that just has been unbeatable lately? Why?
Why not? That's the fun of it.
Why not?
Well,
All
we'll
right.
see after when we come back tomorrow.
This is the gloves are coming off. Hey, fans, we have a good news here. Just an interesting aside at Gulfstream Park West. As you've become accustomed to by now, when Ronnie and I do the show, a lot of times there's side wagers with pancakes involved. We do have pancakes available on track.
Oh, there you go. So we could pay the bet today when he loses on that last bet there. Or to make the actual bet. But we'll be thinking about that right there. Race number 8 this afternoon, 7 furlongs, maiden claiming 2-year-olds, $12,500. I want to go back and show you performance, and it's a little hard to see this horse, what happens at the start. You'll know, Pete, you call the race, and that is the 3, Chris and Dave. This horse comes out of the gate and gets jostled. It's hard to see from the head on. Gets jostled.
He's in the aqua cap.
Yeah, he's in the aqua cap, and he goes from out there all the way to the inside and gets stuck behind him. I thought it was a pretty good performance for him to finish third as the favorite against $16,000 maidens going 3/4 of a mile. If you look at the head on in that race, he just gets all the way pushed to the side or weren't able to grab the head on today. But if you can go to a replay machine, you'll see he really got jostled back in that race.
Well, this might be the pancake race, Ronnie, and we've
Right.
already talked about the book. Here's the book's number 1 favorite angle. Second start from New Jersey. That's right, it's this time of year. Number 4, Up With the Sun, was odds on last time out when making his first start from New Jersey. The Florida Sun kicked in at the quarter pole. He ended up a well-beaten second. He's tighter now. He's ready now, and I think he's the horse to beat here.
Well, number 2, R. Sniper Jones is a son of High Cotton, debuting for who? Wesley Ward, and that should be more than enough, I guess, to pique your interest in here. Colt shows 12 works, including 7 over this track in preparation for the debut. Going back to that angle again, Wesley Ward doesn't train over here. It looks like it was in another barn. I'm pretty sure now debuting for Wesley Ward for the same connections as before. You see the R there, R. Sniper Jones. So this horse has been training well here, has a couple of works now over at Gulfstream Park, and debuting for Wesley Ward.
7 furlongs is the tricky distance to debut for a horse out of the Wesley Ward barn. I think he'll show good speed, and then he'll get collared late, as it
So
were.
pancakes, Chris and Dave with Up With the Sun?
Absolutely. Let's do it right here. Up With the Sun, my best bet on the program, and now we get to put my money where my mouth is.
Well, let's go to race number 9 this afternoon. This one is 1 mile on the turf. Claimers 3-year-olds and up, $10,000. They'll probably scratch the 11 out of here. We didn't get it before we came on, but Pete will update you in just a moment, or you might already have it already. This on the turf, I'm going to start it off with a 20-1 shot right on top of my ticket, and that is Cat and Fiddle, and I'll tell you why. This one is 12 for 21 in the money on the Gulfstream Park turf. 21 starts, 2 wins, 7 seconds and 3/3. Returns after breaking from post 12 last time out. Really failed to get on track. I didn't think he had much of a shot. It was against $12,500 claimers. It was in his Gulfstream Park turf finale. Victor Barboza Jr. Guess this, Tyler Gaffleone in the saddle this afternoon, 20-1 on the morning line, going for the horse for course angle here. I don't think there's any standout in this race, so I took a shot with somebody that has run well here in the past. If you don't know it by now, all summer long, this is our top jockey. He's riding this horse this afternoon. I reached something into that, so I put this horse right on top. A little bit of a price because I found this race tough to handicap.
Not going to argue one bit about anything you just said. This race is tough to handicap. I do not think there's a huge delineation between the top horses on the morning line and horses like the 5 Cat and Fiddle, so I would always jump on the same bandwagon. This horse won 3 starts ago at a chilly 63-1, so he's not opposed to winning as an outsider. That noted, I went with the horse who's 7-2 on the morning line. We're kind of having a role reversal here.
That's exactly it.
Number 1, So Cozy, finished 4th last time out while making his Gulfstream Park West turf return. It's a horse that, again, I'm trying to find the right trip. I think he'll sit in front of some of the closers, behind some of the speed, and be able to get first run. Miguel Vasquez has the call. So Cozy is a horse that always runs very, very well. It's just a matter of whether he can get the top prize today.
Well, we did it again. We have 6 selections up to there. None of them the same.
But this race makes sense
exactly.
to do that.
I agree. That's why I have that horse on top. Number 7, Pickett's Corner, is 3 for 4 in the money on the Gulfstream Park West course. He's had 4 races here with a win in 2 seconds. One of the angles I really like early on in the meeting includes that troubled second. He was steadied at the quarter pole here just on Saturday. Trainer Orban Rogers, Carlos Alvarado handling this. It's a bit of a short turnaround.
Well, who cares? It's been working. It worked for Wove. Yeah. Wove was off 4 days from the end of the Gulfstream meeting to the first day at Gulfstream West and won, so we can wheel back and win. There's certainly nothing wrong with that. Number 2, Bakit would made my second play. This horse looks like a good race, bad race pattern. I know that's something you and I definitely subscribe to. If you subscribe to that theory, this should be the good race now for Bakit. Goes out for trainer Kathy Roundtree. Always offers a pretty good run. Has a good post position, I think, to get in a good position early on. Will be a little bit farther back than some of the other horses in here, but Bakit is an 8-time winner.
Number 9, Minecraft here. We'll try and make it 2 in a row after responding last time out to that class relief with a late closing score in his Gulfstream turf finale. That was back on October 1st. Reed Nagel is the trainer. Jose Caraballo, excellent on the turf. This horse is going to be running late. We've been talking about the bias that has been on this turf course, at least over the last couple of days. Maybe this horse comes running late. I don't know what he's on the morning line. He's actually the morning line favorite in there. So had him on the ticket there along with the 5 and the 7. Who else in the 9th?
It's interesting. Neither one of us used the number 3, Bonaccord, who definitely should get some airtime on this program. He absolutely aired last time out. The running lines are exactly the way it looks. He was 5 in front. He was still 5 in front, and then he ended up just pulling away. This is a horse who was beaten 5 lengths in the Breeders' Cup. That's right, the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. Obviously something went wrong because his 2 races before his most recent win were ugly. But they switched riders and they got a race on a turf course that was less than firm. What was it? Was it the switch in riders? Did the horse figure out what was going on again? Did they figure out something was wrong with the horse? What if? That's the reason why we didn't use him. At least that's the reason I didn't. But if you're playing the what if game, if he runs back to his last race, he'll be awfully tough.
And that doesn't bode well for my 20-1 shot then either. Let's go to the final race on Thursday's card. A mile on the turf, claiming fillies and mares 3 and up, non-winners of 3 in life, or 3-year-olds. Scratch the 5, the 10, the 13, 14. It looks like the 11 and 12 are going to run this afternoon. Pete, when I handicapped this race, I said, here I go. I'm going to have to pick a horse that everybody's going to pick on here. And I picked the one, Adar, and then I looked at our tip sheet. No one picked it. I couldn't believe it. I thought this is the one to beat in here. And that's he's 3 for 4, in the money on this course. No wins, but a 2nd and 2/3 returns after his 2-race win streak ended when he finished a 4-wide second. That was as similar as going a mile across town at Gulfstream Park West. And I just thought on that performance he was going to be the one to beat in here. And I was just so curious to know why you didn't even use him anywhere.
Well, you might be able to figure that out. You know, I'm a guy that holds a grudge, and I have a big grudge against Adar. She's 2 for 30 lifetime. If you had told me that those 2 wins would have come consecutively, I would have asked how many pancakes you wanted to wager on that. I would have never believed that Adar A could win a race and B could win back-to-back races. As when she was younger and starting to race in the maiden ranks, she would hang and hang and hang and hang. Now she has something's gone off mentally where she doesn't do that anymore. She puts her mind to business, but nevertheless, she's on my list, so she doesn't make my ticket. I'll tell you who does. The number 2, Pinsy's Prize. She has a huge alibi last time out. She was making her debut for Michael Petro. That's not the alibi at all. The alibi is that she got caught up in a speed duel. Here's a horse who doesn't want to be anywhere near the lead to begin with. That race was, from a tactical standpoint, was a little bit of tricky for Edgar Zayas. He didn't have much choice, but she was cooked by the time they got to the opening quarter. She wants no part of a sub-23 opening quarter, and I think that the races 2 and 3 back are a true testament of what she wants to do, which is rate about 4 or 5 lengths off the lead, down inside, and then get home on top. So based on the fact the turf course has been playing that way, and she had an alibi last time out, and she's 4-1 on the morning line. Those three things sent me in her direction.
I have her on the ticket too, and also don't forget she has a claiming tag sliced in half today. Was just second to that. 6 behind. Boy, L.A. Style just ran away. I think won by like 9 lengths.
That was
day.
a back-to-back win for Ralph Nix too, by the way.
Yeah, and I went with the 9 Turf Fast in there, making it 2 in a row after responding to the surface, which trying to make it 2 in a row with a runaway 2.5 length score over who? Adar last time out. So Orbi Mirage has Jose Alvarez in the saddle. Going to go with a rematch with the 2 horses I had. I basically could tell I was looking that way off those last performances when I handicapped this race, the 1 and the 9.
Interestingly, I used a horse second that has coming out of the same race as my top pick, so we have the same logic there. We're just keying off of different races. I went with the 4 Io Inez. I think she's the fastest in here. I have to worry about Turf Fast from an outside post, but I like Io Inez. She was 4th and actually beat Pinsy's Pride. She tried to hook LA Style, and that was not a good idea.
Well, that is how we see the Thursday 10 race card. Once again, fast main track, firm turf course. Been a lot of fun here thus far with these new wages we have. And Pete, any closing words before you give them these scratches this afternoon?
Well, I'll tell you this, folks. Every time I have come to Gulfstream Park West this season, I've said that these races look like they're great betting opportunities, and I've not been wrong in that. So maybe when I'm not cashing tickets, the races have been super, super bettable, and you've been able to steer away from a lot of favorites so far this season. So if that's the strategy, continue to do it and enjoy your afternoon.
Good luck, everybody.